Hello, thanks for taking the time to check out this video and welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. I've been professionally building koi ponds for over 25 years and I've put together this channel to basically share with you as much information and helpful tips as I can about all the different things that I've learned over the years. And we talk all about koi ponds and water gardens and pond filtration, aquatic plants and fish, the whole bit here. So I have well over 100 videos right now on this channel, and to help guide you and find things and hopefully find what you're looking for, I suggest please use the playlists, because I have everything broken down into playlists. And if you're into aquatic plants, there's a playlist for that. If you're into, pond construction and design, I have a playlist. I have, filtration, playlist. So you get the idea. So please, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. And take some time and look around, and hopefully you can find some video that can help you out, answer some questions, or just, something you might be interested in. I definitely have a bunch of stuff here for you. So today's video, we're going to dive right in here. I did a video a couple weeks back about basically a problem-solving video, and it was about my pump's not working, okay, and what to do when you come home and you look at your pond and you find the pump's not working. So today's video is going to be another little part in this series of problem-solving kind of videos. This one is just about why your pond water is not clear. So we're going to look at the different things that can cause the water to get dirty, cloudy, whatever, and how hopefully give you some tips on how to remedy some of these problems. All right? So basically, let's just dive in here. I want to talk about how you need to observe what your pond looks like, okay? So we're going to look at three different things. Algae, causing the pond to turn green, right? Dirt, sediment, silt, just suspended particles in the water that may cause the water to look more brown, dirty, cloudy. Okay, and the third thing we're going to look at briefly is basically when your water looks like it's a tea color. It looks clear, but it has like a brownish, reddish tint to it. All right, so we'll look at that as well. We're going to start off by talking about dirty, cloudy, brown water, okay? But, the first thing you need to do, like I said, is identify what that water looks like, because, you just can't go to the store and say, oh, my pond is dirty, what do I need to put in? All right? Well, it depends on what is causing it to be dirty, again, right? Is it green, right? Then we need an algicide. If it's brown, an algicide ain't going to help, because that's more dirt and sediment, right? So again, first thing to do, go out to the pond and really observe the water and look at what it's going, what's going on, all right? Simple, but you know what? How many times, like, I see people going into a pond store and just saying, my water is cloudy, it's dirty, what do I do? So, okay, so if it's dirt, okay, sediment getting into the pond, suspended particles in the water, basically the best way to eliminate all that is through mechanical filtration. And for me, I love filter pads. All right, I have all my ponds are set up with 4-inch bottom drains and gravity-fed filter systems, and inside those filter tanks I use filter pads. And I just got to be honest with you, I've never seen anything else clean the water as effectively as several layers of filter pads. All right, just flat out. I know there's all kinds of filters out there. There's fancy stuff that costs thousands of dollars and all crazy, and I'm not saying they don't work, but I'm just saying a box with some filter pads and pumping water through it really can clean up the pond. All right, So if there's a lot of silt, a lot of sediment getting into the pond, not only do we need to identify, that it is dirt and silty and brown, dirty water, okay? We also might want to look at where it's coming from, okay? Where is that coming from? And quite often I find ponds that are basically a hole in the ground with a liner laid on top of the ground and then rock put around it. And what tends to happen sometimes is a lot of the dirt and silt and stuff, especially if it goes up a little hill for a waterfall, that dirt during a big rainstorm, dirt, mulch, all can run down, find its way on top of the liner and through the rocks and down into your pond. All right, so there's little things now. I have videos on all that rock border and all that stuff around the pond, and try to tell you how I put the liner and how to avoid having dirt and rock and mulch and stuff sliding and falling, coming into your pond, washing into your pond. That's another video. But I'm just saying, right, all this sediment that is getting in the pond has to be coming in somehow. So if we can figure out where it's coming from or how it's coming in, it can certainly help to control it. Now, you're also going to get sediment from rotting plants, okay, fish waste, right? All kinds of stuff like this that can cloudy up the water. If you throw in, if you have 12 little goldfish and you throw in 3 cups of food, and all that food is floating on the surface for 2 days, eventually it's going to start breaking up, and all that little particles are going to be in the water column, right? It's a waste, and that's going to help cloudy up your water as well. So for me, like I said, the best way to clear a dirty, brownish, dirt, silt, sediment pond is mechanical filtration, okay? And I can't overstress filter pads. So here's the trick though. We need to make sure that we are pumping enough water through our filters, that our filtration system is adequate, and it's so important when it comes to mechanical filtration. The water flow, all right? If we have I've seen ponds that, nice sized ponds, 10, 12, 15 foot, round, freeform, whatever, with a little pump in the bottom, with a little 1-inch hose coming out into a little container, a little filter thing that's this big, and they wonder why the pond's dirty. Okay, like I wouldn't put that on a fish tank. Okay, it's certainly not big enough to be put out in a pond, where it's basically a dirty environment. All right. So we need to make sure that our filters are adequate, our filtration systems are big enough, and we're pumping enough water through them. To have a, just say 1,000-gallon pond and have a pump that's, 300 gallons an hour, we're not going to be turning that water over fast enough to keep it clean and clear. All right. I have some ponds that say are 1,000 gallons, and I have a 4,000-gallon per hour pump on them. All right. But my filter tank is big enough to handle that. Volume, all right, but those ponds stay crystal clear because I'm turning that water over several times an hour. Okay, so dirty water is basically based a lot on the filtration. Now, if you have all those filter pads and stuff, or whatever kind of filter you're using on the pond, make sure you're cleaning it. All right, the cleaner you keep your filter system, the cleaner your pond is going to be. All right. A very common filter that I see a lot are these I call them waterfall boxes. It's a box, with the little lip spillway in the front. And the water comes in the bottom, flows through all the filter pads, right? And then comes up and goes over a little spillway, a little lip, and down a waterfall. Those boxes are great. They do a great job. But I also have clients that never clean them, all right? If you never clean it, all that sediment and sludge is just going to build up in there. And it's going to build up to the point where it's going to start rotting, it's going to become stinky, it's going to actually start polluting the pond more than anything else. And those filter pads and that filter is only going to hold so much sludge and debris until it starts putting it back into your pond, okay? Keep your filters clean. You keep your filters clean, it's really going to do wonders for keeping the pond clean. Just a quick example. I had a client several years back that she had a pond. It was a nice sized pond. It was probably about 20 feet long, maybe 10, 12 feet wide. Nice sized pond. A mixture of all kinds of, goldfish, koi. She had some plants in there, the whole bit. And the pond was, you couldn't see the fish 6 inches underwater, all right? It was green, it was brown, it was just a mess, all right? She had a little crappy filter on it. We ended up putting a big filter tank in there with all kinds of pads and stuff, and a UV light, a UV sterilizer, and basically increased the pump size and the water flow through the whole pond. Now, I had told her when we originally started that with this type of filter, we're going to need, monthly maintenance. Like, once a month, I recommend to clean these filter pads and wash everything out. And she said, no problem, they could do that. They were going to be able to do that. I explained to them how to do it. But I told them, initially, you may have to do it a little more often, right? Because the pond is a mess. So until it gets caught up with itself and gets the pond clean, we might have to clean it out more often. So I set up the whole system. I got everything going. Maybe 3 days later, she calls me and says, Chris, that the filters look really dirty. Should I clean them? And I said, yeah, absolutely. It'll be great. Okay, so she cleans everything out. 3-4 days later, she calls me again. Chris, those filter pads look really dirty again. Should I clean it again? And I said, well, yeah, it'd be a good idea. And get all that crap out of the filters. Yes, okay. 3-4 days later, she calls me again. Now she's getting a little upset. All right, Chris, these filter pads are all dirty again. You told me you would be cleaning this thing once a month. I've cleaned it 3 times, 4 times in a week and a half. I can't keep doing this. This is getting crazy. Like, this is too much, So I said, all right, no problem. Let me come over. Let me take a look. I'll clean it out for you. Let me see what's going on. Well, I went over there. You can see the bottom of the pond now. The pond wasn't crystal clear, but it was 90% better than what it was before. Like, I couldn't see 6 inches in the pond before, and now I'm seeing 3.5 feet down at the bottom. And I just was like, The more you got to clean that filter, the dirtier that filter pads get, the better the filter's working, okay? You don't want all that garbage and debris and sludge and dirt in your pond. You want it in the filters so you can remove it, okay? So she was fine. I mean, she wasn't upset, but I cleaned it out for her again. The pond cleared up beautifully, and we had a regular maintenance schedule once a month, and the pond has been beautiful. All right. So initially it takes a lot of time. So getting back, right? So the dirt, the suspended particles, all the debris in the water is best removed by mechanical filtration. Now, there are different chemicals, okay, and bacteria and stuff that you can put in the pond, to help clear the pond up, okay. One of those chemicals is called a flocculant. Which basically it's something that you can put in the water and you'll see it kind of like a little milky, cloudy, sediment effect come from this. And basically what it does is it makes all these little suspended particles kind of stick and clump together and sink to the bottom. And it clears your water. I mean, it does a pretty good job of clearing the water out, all right? But here's the problem. We're not removing it. All we're doing is making all that crap sink and fall to the bottom. It's still in your pond. And eventually, your fish are going to be swimming around, things are going to happen, and all that stuff's going to get stirred back up again. All right? So I'm not a big believer in that. Yeah, it does work if you want a quick little fix, but unless you have bottom drains, all right, if you have bottom drains like I have in my ponds, okay, then all that sediment can go down at the bottom and eventually work its way down to the deepest part of the pond where that drain is. And it's gravity, right? We have gravity helping us here. And it goes right out to the filters where it can then be cleaned out. All right, if you have rock and gravel in the bottom of your pond, all that stuff's just going to settle down and rot in the gravel. All right, and eventually get stirred up again. Yeah, so, you know, stuff like that. There are some, you know, microbes and enzymes and natural, you know, stuff you can put in the pond, which, you know, they claim will help break down sludge and sediment and leaves and debris and stuff like that. And I'm not a big fan of that stuff either, sorry. You know, it's something that won't hurt your pond. I just don't believe it does very much. Okay, so if you have, you know, some leaves and some debris, some organic debris, some algae dying in the bottom of the pond, and you add all this bacterial and enzyme stuff, yes, it does help to break it down. But again, we're not removing it. We're turning leaves into sludge, into mud. It's still down there, all right? I mean, the idea is eventually it does kind of get kicked up, stirred up, and out to your filter system. But here's the thing. Again, bottom drains certainly helps. No rock and gravel really helps with bottom drains because all that sediment can just go right down. Rock and gravel holds it all. Eventually just builds it all up. So I have a whole nother video on all that. Rock and gravel compared to bottom drain ponds. Okay, I have a whole nother video on that. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but I'm just trying to prove a point of where all this sediment is coming from and how we may, you know, try to remedy it and get it out. But the other thing is, you know, you have a nice sized pond, whether it's 6 by 6 or 20 by, you know, 20, all right? If you have a suction pipe coming down or a submersible pump in the pond or a suction pipe coming down, it's going to be in one spot. And you're pulling water from this one spot. But if all the sediment and debris is coming down over there, well, it ain't going to come over here. It ain't going to get sucked out, all right? So it may eventually, if it gets back in the water column and it kind of drifts over and then the pump pulls it out, but it's going to take a lot more time. All right, so yeah, just give you some ideas with that. Okay, dirty water, brown sediment, mechanical filtration, have an adequate pump, a large enough filter system to hold it, you know, and utilize a nice high flow rate, and keep your filters clean. And if you do that, it should clean your pond up really nice. All right, next one, green water, algae. Okay, so what do we do for algae? Okay, well there's a simple remedy that I put on every pond I build, and that's a UV light. All right, an ultraviolet sterilizer or clarifier. Very effective, very easy to do. Initial cost is a little high, but once you have it, you're done. Your water will stay clear. Okay, now the UV light does not kill any of the algae that might grow on the rocks, you know, on the sides of the pond or on your waterfall, okay, simply because that algae is not exposed to the light. But any of the water-borne particles, algae cells that get pumped through the UV sterilizer are killed and your water stays clear. So it avoids, you know, your pond becoming like pea soup. Very easy to do. Awesome. I mean, it's done. All right. It'll clear up your pond rather quickly. Now, sometimes if your pond is really green and you install a UV light, it may take a week to clear it up, and maybe the first few days you'll look and it won't look like there's any difference at all, and then all of a sudden it's just going to clear it like really quickly. So they do a great job clearing it up, and I certainly definitely suggest a UV sterilizer over algicides. all right? Algicides can be really dangerous in your pond. I have seen too many people put algicides in their pond and their fish are dying. They kill them all. You know, if they overdose with the algicides, and it's a toxic chemical, all right? I don't like using algicides, no matter what kind it is. The only kind of algicide that a lot of my clients seem to like and seems to work very well for them is barley straw. Now, barley straw is basically available in 3 different forms. You can actually buy the hay, the straw, the bale, little bale. It comes in pellet form and it comes in a liquid form, okay, the extract. Definitely suggest the extract. It's direct and it works right away. Now, the thing with the barley, what happens is as that barley straw is rotting, it gives off a toxin, okay, that can kill the algae. So if you buy the bale, the straw, you put it in a pond, it takes some time to really start working because it's got to start breaking down and rotting, basically, okay? So it takes some time to get started, but once it starts breaking down and putting out this toxin, it lasts a long time. The pellets, the same thing. They dissolve a little quicker. They start working a little bit faster. The problem is with the pellets and the straw is that it leaves a lot of mess in the pond because it's all just breaking down and rotting and just deteriorating in the pond. Whereas the liquid, the barley straw extract, which you can find on my website, Pondscapes and More. I have an affiliate link with Amazon, so it makes it really easy. You can just go to product links, find the chemicals, the barley straw, and it brings you right to Amazon, and bang, you got it. It's a liquid extract, so you just pour it in around the pond, and you're good to go. But a lot of my clients seem to really like that product. So, like I said, algicides are toxic, okay? They can be really dangerous for your fish. They can suck out all the oxygen in the water, and you'll find your fish, starving for air, if not dying. And it's usually all your big fish that die first when it becomes an oxygen issue. And the thing is with algae is that it's a plant. And it needs 3 things to thrive, right? It needs sunlight, it needs fertilizer, and it needs water. Just like a plant outside, right? Just like the flowers in your garden, right? You need sunlight, you need to water them, and they need the nutrients in the water. So, in a pond with algae, we have some sunlight, right? If you're out in the sun, you got sunlight. It's in water, and your fish and dirt and whatever's in the pond is providing the nutrients. So an algicide to me is a quick fix. It might clear up and kill some of the algae initially, but it's going to come back because you still have the pond, you still have water, hopefully, right? And nutrients in the water continuously build. So it just looks like an endless battle for me when I look at algicides. And I find that the risk of killing your fish can be pretty great. So definitely am not a fan. Okay, so green water, right? Also, green water can, mechanical filtration helps collect a lot of algae cells, algae particles as well. But UV light is the best thing I can suggest. Now, the last thing was the water being a clear, clean, clear water, but it has a dark brown tea color, like tint to it. So this is basically due to what's called tannins, which is like a sap from trees. Oak trees and maple trees are the biggest culprits that I find. When the sap comes out of the leaves, especially in the fall, the leaves start falling into the pond, the sap starts coming out of the leaves, and it just turns everything a tea color. Oak trees in the early spring have those little tassels that fall. Those tassels accumulate in the water. You start getting that tea color. Now, it's not really toxic to the fish. I have never had a problem with that as far as fish health goes. It's just that your water is not nice and crystal clear. It looks like tea. And you know, the only way to really eliminate that is just through water changes and diluting it, because it will stay stained for a long time. A lot of times, you know, having nets on the ponds and keeping those leaves out can certainly help, you know, but you don't always want to look at a net either. Now, I had, in my house years ago, I had a big silver maple. And I remember going out one day, it was kind of misty, drizzly, rainy, and I happened to have on a white t-shirt, and I was out doing something underneath that tree. And you know, the raindrops are hitting me. I went back inside and I had little yellow spots that stained my t-shirt. So, you know, as those leaves, especially in the fall, and they start dying back, and you know, with the rain, the sap kind of comes out of them, and you know, it dripped on me, and my t-shirt was pretty much, you know, ruined. So that's the same stuff that comes into your pond. So if all those leaves help to, you know, come down, fall into your pond and accumulate on the surface or sink to the bottom, and you're not cleaning them out and you're not keeping up with that, it could definitely turn your pond, you know, colors, you know, into that tea color. All right, so that's not something that's all, you know, going to be filtered out either, because it's actually like a stain in the water. It's not so much a particle that we're eliminating or collecting through pads and stuff. All right, so yeah, so okay, so I hope that kind of explained a little bit to you, at least trying to guide you in the right direction is what I'm trying to do here. So your water's dirty, it's cloudy, it's not clear, you know, what is it? What can I do about it? So again, just to recap, first thing, what color is it? Is it green? Is it brownish, right? Brownish, cloudy color, or is it tea color? And then we can go from there as far as what's causing it, all right? And how to, you know, approach eliminating it. Your pond should be clear. I've had clients that I've, you know, put filter systems on, or, you know, even just built new ponds for, you know, ripped out an old one and built a new one, and they can't believe that the water is clear. They're like, you know, I've had a pond for years and my water has never been clear. Like, I didn't know it was supposed to be clear like this. Well, yeah, it should be, right? Hopefully, you know, but it's all dependent on the filtration system. That filtration system is the heart of your pond. It's what's gonna take care of it and keep it nice and clean. So if you're looking for some more information on different types of filter systems and stuff, I have a ton of videos here to help you guys out and explain to you the difference between mechanical filters, biological filters, chemical filters even, you know, and how they work and what the different types of medias are and all that stuff. I have all that here on this channel for you. So again, please take some time, and I hope the video helped you out, at least give you a little guide, direction. You know, if you're new to the hobby, if you're new to owning a pond and your pond water is not as clear as you think it should be, hopefully this video has helped you out a little bit to kind of understand why that might be and maybe what you might need to do to make it, you know, make it better. All right, so thank you very much for watching. Again, you know, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support, and hopefully we'll see you back again soon in another video. So take care, have a great day. Bye.